So a recent patch in Pokemon Go changed the movesets of 19 Pokemon, and this post from the Sylph Road kind of summarizes it up. So as we can see right here, 19 species affected, an overall gain in DPS, with 7 moveset combinations being improved and 4 moveset combinations being reduced. Now some of these have no effect, some of these were just straight up buffs, and some of these were nerfs as well. So we can see with Pokemon like Jigglypuff, also Porygon, Gyarados, these Pokemon were not affected, and there's like best charge moves not changed, or the quick moves not changed as well. And then there's also Pokemon like Starmie getting really big changes. I mean, 14 DPS on the quick move and on the charge move, but overall no change for the most optimal set. And then we can see Pokemon like Muck getting nerfed, losing Acid on the quick move, now making Lick the best one. So there goes Stab and some craziness right there. And then also some improvements to Gengar, Golem, Dugtrio. So very slight changes. I mean like 0.3 DPS on the Mudshot to Mudslap. But overall, it's a little bit of a buff. And that's one of the crazy things like that I've noticed about Pokemon Go. Instead of drastically changing Pokemon stats staying the same. But these little tweaks are kind of changing around how Pokemon play out and stuff. Now, one thing that's really interesting is that, like, losing out on certain moves kind of change it around, because Rock Throw is apparently a solid way of dealing with Lapras, which is one of the strongest Pokemon in the game right now. So changing that to Mudshot actually nerfs Amistar a lot harder and technically buffs Lapras. So paying attention to those little changes are also interesting as well. And I think another good thing to look at this is that the average player benefits in a lot of scenarios. Like, the average player isn't going to think, oh man, I need the best move on my Starmie, and they're going to know the list of every move optimally. So no matter what happens, Starmie, Staryu, a lot of these Pokemon, even Porygon, are going to be walking away better off, unless they were already overpowered to begin with. I mean, this is pretty nice right here. Huge buff to the Chansey. Psybeam becoming Hyper Beam, so a lot of stab, a lot of DPS improvement on the charge move. Might be a little more useful once that charge move goes off. But then Mew. Why change Mew at all is like my question right here. So for some reason it loses Hurricane, loses Moonblast, and then gains Blizzard. So slightly more DPS, 0.6 DPS buff, but also depending on like what you're fighting against. You know, Dragonite's the strongest Pokemon. Having Blizzard over any other move is going to make you stronger against the strongest Pokemon in the game. So another buff change right there. And also technically losing Move Blast works in Mew's favor, because Mew has a ton of charge moves. Kind of following through with the game, it has a wide variety of moves. So losing Moonblast and Hurricane means you have a better chance of getting the charge move that you want when Mew becomes available. And now this is leading to a lot of speculation, like, hey, why change Mew at all if it's not even in the game yet, or hasn't found a way of becoming available? So something might be in the works, which is pretty interesting. So we also have like this right here, so Pokemon Go August 20th balance update. There's also some other changes besides these moveset changes right here, such as spawn changes. Pokemon that are rare spawns are becoming a little bit more common. Reports coming in increased spawn rates of uncommon and rare Pokemon. Part of this could be to break up the monotonous grind of only catching Pidgey and Rattatas, and making going out and catching Pokemon a little more exciting. Also, reports of regional spawns significantly increasing as well. These are regional Pokemon spawns: Tauros North America, Kangaskhan Australia, Mr. Mime Europe, and Farfetch'd in Asia. So regional spawns getting a nice little boost as well. And this might have something to do with the radar as well. As radar improvements come in, it must be very frustrating that, oh, I don't get the rare Pokemon that was on my map if you're trying to wander around and find it. So more rare Pokemon, less junk Pokemon being found. Overall, good change. Same with egg hatch speed increased. So what this means is that if you're moving faster, it will count towards your egg hatching, and the GPS updates a bit more. So reports are coming in that there was an increase to the previous determined 10.5 kilometers an hour. It has also been noted that the distance updates more frequently, meaning you do not have to walk in a straight line. So the GPS works by just kind of drawing a straight line. So if you went and made a right-hand turn, or you turned a corner and then it updates, it's going to go from point A to point B, thus making an angle, meaning that you walked less than you really did. So more updates means that no matter how squiggly your path, you're going to gain a bit more. And hopefully this means that we can jog and bike more while hatching eggs and not having it get shut out because you're going too fast. Moveset changes, so that's pretty much all that this was right here. And yeah, it's like, interestingly enough, Mew changes, stuff like that. Him only Stomp becomes Brick Break. So overall, some balance right there. And then now there's a lot of interesting stuff. So I'm on the Sylph Road, been on the Pokemon Reddit, trying to read up on what's going on today. PSA, eggs obtained pre-patch can hatch into mons with pre-patch exclusive moves. So what this does is it also confirms that eggs determine what the Pokemon is going to be before they hatch, which is pretty nice. It was already speculated, but yeah, based on this info, it proves at this moment, or that the moment you get the egg, it has a predetermined Pokemon and moveset. So not a big surprise, but something nice to see. And also that your eggs, if you have a nerfed Pokemon, will still be very valuable. Potions get a boost in drop rate, and also we have it right here with the removal of Dragon Breath. Does this make pre-patch Gyarados rare or valuable? So there is going to be trading. Trading has been confirmed to be a future update in Pokemon Go, and that means Pokemon like Gyarados that are going to be a little stronger, I believe, or, you know, different moves, different stronger Pokemon are going to have more valuable. And this is where I got the idea about Omastar. You know, I'm more upset about Omastar. Come on, the only real counter to Lapras, and then they take away Rock Throw and give us a ground move that doesn't even get Stab. Man, when trading comes out, some lucky sap with Rock Throw, anything but Ancient Power Omastar is going to be getting so much stuff from me. So that kind of shows that it'll increase the value of Pokemon. But I think it's weird that they would make so many changes but not change existing Pokemon. If anything, it's just going to make it harder for new players to have as much of an edge as old players. But there's also a lot of existing Pokemon floating around, so the millions of Muck or whatever other pre-nerfed Pokemon, as we can see from this infographic right here, you know, Muck was nerfed. The Gyarados, I guess just having Dragon Breath, actually Dragon Breath is a nice little buff to have because you have super effectives against the, whatchamacallit, Dragonite. That could work out. Also, as future generations come out, more Dragon Pokemon get introduced. Like, that's actually one thing to consider. Guys, maybe I should make a video on the future of Pokemon Go. Like, what Pokemons might become more or less viable just from the introduction of others. If you have any ideas, go and leave a comment down below on that. Also, if you've enjoyed this video so far, please leave a like. Might as well get my plug in right there. But yeah, we can see like other Pokemon that have been like nerfed. You know, the acid being removed. Well, that's the best quick move being reduced. So you lose a little bit of DPS and stuff like that. And I think the Ammonite, for people that have a lot of faith in it and put a lot of value, will get it as well. And then potions get a boost in a drop rate. Recently noticed that I was getting more potions in the past few weeks and the last couple days. I think there might be a drop rate adjustment as they adjusted a few of the movesets recently. So some speculation and then a breakdown because Silph Road is all about numbers and math. Good job on the analysis as we go into some other stuff. So this was a fun little post on the Reddit. See Snorlax, yell. Encounter Snorlax, CCP, yell again. Check IVs, pass out. 100% perfect Snorlax. Well done. That has to be one of the greatest feelings. So yeah, for those guys that don't know, there are IVs in Pokemon Go. So instead of having it to like we're in Pokemon recent games, it's up to like 31 IVs. It's kind of going back to the old school days. I believe in Red and Blue, the IVs were like 15 or 16 or something. So kind of like holding on to those old school mechanics. But yeah, every Pokemon you catch can have varying CPs depending on the stats. So it's like, yeah, your worst possible stat, it's going to be like this, your best, but overall has the max IVs, 100% perfect Pokemon. That is pretty crazy with the amount of stats that this Snorlax is rocking. So nice luck right there. And then for the last little story, let's go and actually make this transition over. I forgot to set up this card, so give me 1 second right here. So there we go. Pokemon Go player tries getting 1 million experience in a day, gets treated like a cheater. Not by the community, but by Niantic. So we have Jimmy's loop right here. So here's the post. Jimmy is a hardcore Pokemon Go player who spent the last couple of weeks devising an ingenious plan to accrue as much experience as possible. People doubted him as well, and he wanted to prove everyone wrong. So his plan was to get over 1 million experience in the course of a weekend. People didn't believe it, so he created Jimmy's loop. Never make a lap last more than 5 minutes. Never stop to catch unless there are more Pokemon at your current node. If just Zubats playing around rule 1. Take breaks at 1 through 3 in reverse direction frequently. Minimize lap distance wherever possible. So pretty much loop around and then try to just catch as many Pokemon, get the evolutions, and then crazy experience rates. So we placed lures on 10 Pokestops in a 0.2 mile loop, which we plan to walk over and over. So yeah, with the lures, and then, so it's pretty much like, yeah, never make a lap last more than 5 minutes. So you're always walking, always catching Pokemon, always walking, always catching Pokemon for pretty much the entire time. Now the plan was to get 1 million experience in a single day. At first things went swimmingly. He was amassing hundreds of thousands of experience. On hour 13, everything changed. No matter what he did, what Pokeball he used, every single monster started running away. and then they continued running away. This was a soft ban. So he was playing legitimately, making the mad loop, just following the rules, streaming it through Twitch, because it was legitimate, just to make sure like no one thought Jimmy's loop would be focused on cheating. And the game soft banned him after getting 600,000 experience in a day. So Niantic recently implemented anti-botting policy, becoming more well-known to players as a soft ban. More or less, policy is 24 hours cheating prevention tool, which stops you from getting more experience than you should. So it looks like one of the requirements of a soft ban isn't as much looking for someone that's spoofing or botting or cheating in some way, but just having a hard cap, which is fairly unfortunate because players that are overly dedicated can end up with a soft ban even by playing legitimately. So that was something that I don't think anyone expected. I mean, this right here is like one of the most heartbreaking things you can imagine. Like, it's just like every Pokemon keeps going away. You can't catch it. GG. Also, wait, was this right here on the left when he catches a Pidgey and it turns into a Weedle? So he gets a bit of like a swap glitch as well, which is kind of funny. But then the Pidgeys, you know, just fails because he got soft banned. I'm Reddit user, 25% stream donation to charity, whitelist my soft ban. Yeah, like, yeah, he got banned for doing that. He did donate to charity. I logged 25 miles using app Charity Miles. We will be able to donate $50 to $60 to charity thanks to stream donations. But we easily could have gotten more than that mileage and more money to charities given a full stream. So there we go, guys. He kept going, but that's the news that we have today. So good stuff. Mew is getting some attention. There is a lot of just research and stuff going into making Pokemon the most optimal, and the ban system not necessarily perfect. You can't expect to be perfect, but I think this is the most crazy situation that has come out so far. Guy wants to prove everyone wrong. Does it so well, he gets soft bans. If you guys enjoyed the video, hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.